Live in five, four, three, dos, uno. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly for another week here on Studio Live today. My name is Pete, and this is our weekly dose of all things GarageBand. If it's your first time here, what I like to do here on the channel is help you create, record, and release your best music. And we do that through tips and tricks and tutorial videos and live streams just like this one. If that's your kind of bag, then consider subscribing. This is the pre-show, the show before the show, where we get ourselves set up, ready to rock and roll, which we will be doing in just a moment. So if you do want to jump straight into the content, fast forward about 5 minutes. It's usually about 5 minutes for me to just get set up here. And hello to the folks who are here live. I'm using Restream once again, which means I don't get your chat comments before I go live, which is a bit weird and one of the things that I'm not loving about Restream. But the actual audio quality is better, and I'm getting used to it. So yeah, like good to have options, right? We'll have a few options for how we can do live stuff moving forward. We've got a lot coming up on the show here today. I'll be having a wee bit of a rant about why I use GarageBand. We'll be looking at storage options for GarageBand, how to back up your projects and keep yourself safe, because I still get emails every week from people losing GarageBand projects, and backing up is super, super important. So we'll be talking about that on the show, and we've got a whole lot more to get through here as well. Some updates, talking iPhone 12, iOS 14, what's happening with all of that, and I'll be talking about an interesting app of the week for those who may want to get yourself into podcasting and maybe do it for free. I know everyone, audio folks usually like audio stuff, which means you may want to start your own podcast. It's easier than you may think. G'day to the folks who are here live. Hello to Jade Star. We've got Scott in the house. We've got, I'm assuming, SM Borthwick. I can't see you, but everyone's saying hello to you. Yep, there you are. Hello, Auntie G. Jade's saying, I reckon I spent more time in my studio yesterday than any other day since building it. Jade's been hard at work finishing her EP. Who else haven't I said g'day to? Tom, Rochelle. Hello, Rico Moore. Good to see you here in the chat. Alex Bacchus is here. We've got Soul Rack M7. Latch Vegas is here, 1000 watts. Hello to you all. Gino Therese sneaking in there towards the end. If you do have questions throughout the show, if you've not been here before, what I need you to do is, if you do have a question, we'll have a question and answer, a Q&A segment. I will call it a little bit later, but if you've got a question, just make sure you put the word question in front. That just helps me identify that you're not just chatting amongst yourselves, but you do have a question that I need to jump in and give some attention to. So keep that in mind as we go through the show here today. Alrighty, so we are nearly set. We are nearly ready to go and dive into the actual content here today. Just make sure that I've got my screen sharing working. I plugged in, I came here and I set up in the studio and then realized I'd left my iPad unplugged, and for some reason it was on and didn't turn off. I must have some weird setting in there because it drained the entire battery. So I had no battery left whatsoever. So now I'm on 2% and I'm plugged in. So I'm crossing my fingers and my toes that my iPad will actually hold out so that we can do some demonstrations and things. I might turn it off while I'm ranting about other things so that we don't run out of steam here. But I'll just do a quick screen share test to make sure that we're good there. Yep, that looks good. Can we do the big mode? We can. All right, everything's looking fine and dandy. At least it's fine. Its dandiness will return in time. Hello to a few more folks who've managed to make their way in. We've got Mr. Stu Cash is here. Joe Glenn is here as well. Thank you all for being here. And once again, if you do have those questions about GarageBand or anything home or mobile music creation, please drop them here in the chat. If you're watching on the replay, don't stress. Just leave a comment down below. And while you're down there, there's a little button that looks like that. And if you get value out of these weekly shows and you want Pete to continue getting up at 6:30 a.m. here on a Monday morning and do these shows live, then yeah, hitting that like button just makes me feel all warm and gooey down in the cockles. That started sounding really weird, didn't it? Let's get on and start talking about GarageBand, shall we? So, jumping into our news and notes this week, it's been a bit of a slow news week again in the world of Apple. We are still waiting for more information. A lot of talk and a lot of chatter about the iPhone 12. We're still expecting an announcement to be coming soon. And I must admit, I've spent the whole weekend doing other things. It may have even been locked in already, but we're expecting an announcement within the next week or two. Someone here in the chat will tell me if it has actually been locked in. And we are expecting 4 different models of iPhone 12. So if you're in the market, if you're like me, if you're sitting there going, I've got an iPhone 10, 10s, even an 11. I don't know that you'd update from an 11. I think if you're rocking an 8 or a 10 like me, then you're probably about due. I tend to upgrade on every second upgrade cycle, but let me know what you think and if you are in the realm. And I don't know, there's something about the iPhone 12 that's making, I think I mentioned it last week, it seems that we're getting a little bit more complex again. We're going to have 4 different models, different sizes, different processors. I do miss the days of just, here's the small one and here's the big one. Now just choose your size. So back in the day where there was just the regular and the plus, and then later on they'd bring out the S version of it, then that just seemed a lot easier to me. But hey, I'm not the $1 trillion company, so maybe they know stuff I don't know. iOS 14, I still haven't updated. I'm on the verge of on my iPad Pro because I think I just need to. I need to rip that Band-Aid off and get it done. But they're really, I've looked around, I've watched a bunch of videos, I've talked to a bunch of people. No one is giving me a convincing reason why iOS 14 needs to be an upgrade in my life right now. So I haven't been rushing into it. I haven't done anything. I don't really need widgets. I don't really need the app library thing. I don't even know what that one is. So there's nothing that's sort of drawing me in that's making me want to actually update. Oop, I realized I've got some don't you hate it when you're doing something? Well, again, don't you hate it when you're doing something and then you hear some talking in the background? You're like, is that me echoing? Is that another video playing somewhere on another device? I've got so many things that play audio that it's crazy. So iOS 14, let me know. Have you updated yet? Are you still having any problems? I know there's been some issues with some positive grid stuff, with some app save states. We talked about this in previous weeks. Like I say, I'm not in a rush, but I'm an old man. I like things to just work, and I would rather forego some of the new shininess and have a working platform. Jade Star here in the chat saying that iOS 14.2 beta is still buggy as all get out. Medallion saying, yeah, I'm still on at 13.7, not going to risk it. Yeah, I'm also not. Jay Stars, it's 13th October event, so it sounds like that's been confirmed. And thank you to Jade for asking people to hit the sums 5 times. Yeah, that'll be the right amount. My buddy Mike over at Creative Source says, if you like the video, hit the like button, and if you don't like it, hit the dislike button twice. And I find that really amusing because you know what happens when you hit the button twice? Yeah, it goes away. So I find that kind of funny. Righty. And Jade's only running it on her only running iOS 14 on your Burner 6S. Hate it. The widgets are things that go in the toilet. And battery drain. Oh, I missed the one. Tom Rochelle, not upgraded, waiting for at least a solid bug fix update. And Richard is talking battery drain, which, yeah, I have heard as well that battery management isn't as good on iOS 14 as well. So, yeah, you take it at your own risk. Again, no need to always turn automatic updates off. That's probably my big tip here. Don't ever let your things update automatically. You want control over when your stuff updates. So if you're already updated and you can't do anything about it, well, so be it. Alrighty, a bit of GarageBand users news. I know many of you are members of the GarageBand users Facebook group. I'm wearing the GarageBand users group shirt, as you can see there. These are available, by the way, studiolivetoday.com/merch. I don't actually make any profit on these. I put these up at cost price. Just because they're not my design. Ron Ward over on the GarageBand Users Group designed them, and I just wanted folks to be able to grab hold of them if they are supporters of GarageBand and the GarageBand Users Group. So I think they come out at about $15 US. So if you're a GarageBand fan, show your GarageBand love over there, studiolivetoday.com/merch. And if you want to support this channel, pick up a mug or a t-shirt at the same time, which I know, I think Greg said he picked up a mug in the last week. So yeah, drink your coffee and tea in style with a Studio Live Today mug. Sorry, that didn't mean to turn into an ad. The GarageBand Users Group. So Ron and Brian and Jade have been running the GarageBand Live, GBU Live, as Ron says, every week. And Ron's actually going to take a hiatus from that. But that's the bad news. The good news is that he's doing a weekly magazine-style show, which the first episode dropped during the week. It is awesome. Jump over to the GarageBand users Facebook group to check that out. So he'll be showcasing some songs from the week, talking GarageBand, and it is cool because it means that you have this show if you want your live fix of GarageBand for the weekend, and then in the midweek, Ron will be stepping up and doing his magazine show, which he does all the bells and whistles. I just sit here with my boring background and don't do anything. He's got all the cool stuff going on with his green screens and everything else. So catch that one. Join the Facebook group to connect. Jade's just dropped a link down below. It's cut it off there on Restream, but it's facebook.com/group/big number. I've actually set up a link also at studiolivetoday.com/GBU. So if you forget it, studiolivetoday.com/GBU. Hello to folks who've joined us here. We've got Lil A. Hello to you. Andy, thank you for the kind words, my friend. Good to have you here on the show. And Russ is here as well. Hello to you. Well, there's 1,000 watts saying hello to Russ. I don't think I've missed anyone else, but if I have, please do let me know. Spy Ninja Jamal says, did you check out my app that can work with the webcam? Yeah, so I did a video a while ago. It's not really GarageBand related, but I did a video a while ago on plugging a webcam to your iPhone or iPad. It doesn't work. There are, however, apps that allow you to use third-party cameras with iOS. It's a little clunky. I've never actually tried it. If you've tried it, let me know. But yeah, I tend to find it a wee bit clunky because you have to use proprietary third-party apps and run a whole bunch of things and connect to bits. And it just wasn't useful. I would just want it. I want a camera that I can just plug a webcam in, set it up somewhere, and then use that as a streaming camera for my phone so that I could do something like this, but directly from my phone without having to have my phone propped up there. I want a camera plugged into it. I don't think anything like that works for things like YouTube and Instagram and whatnot. Righto, let's continue. Where are we here? Jade says, now he tells me about the link. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, studiolivetoday.com/GBU. It's just, I got sick of doing what you were doing there, Jade, and having to find that group number and all the weird stuff. So I went, yep, let's make a vanity link there. Righty dokie, let's jump into my rant of the week this week. And I'm going to go on a topic that I actually talked about yesterday. So yesterday on the show, on the Home Studio Q&A show, I talked about the 5 reasons why I use GarageBand. So I'll mention them really quickly here, and then I'm just going to go into a little bit of a rant about a few things that have come up through the week. So I use GarageBand because, number one, it's mobile, so I can use it on my iPhone and my iPad. I can mix and master and record and do all the things wherever I am, and I like to walk a lot. So I like to be out and about with my phone, and having GarageBand on my phone just really helps with that. It's simple. I said it before, I'm an old man. I like things that are simple. I like things that just work. So that's why I like to have GarageBand. It's not super complex and complicated and breaks my poor little brain. The workflow I love. Again, the simplicity of the workflow, the ability to just tap on a button and start recording. If I've got an idea in my head, within about 3 seconds, I can have the record started. I'm getting all choked up about how much I love GarageBand. I can go in, I can hit the microphone, I can hit record, and I can record in my idea. It's that simple. I love that it's native to Apple. Like, take what you want from Apple, and people love them, hate them, be like me and think they're somewhere in between, and they're just a company that makes stuff. But yeah, at least using their products, using their software on their products is usually a good experience. Yeah, the save to files issue, the automation bug, the background audio on iPad issues aside. Yeah, we've got 3 bugs at the moment that look like they have no intention of patching. But apart from that, it is pretty good being native. You don't have some of the weird application errors you get with non-Apple software. And then the community. So the community is you, and I mentioned that yesterday. It's you, it's the GarageBand users Facebook group. It is everyone out there that's using GarageBand. And that's what I wanted to just quickly rant on and expand on here, because I'm super biased. So take this with a grain shaker or, mine, those big salt mines, mine of salt. But yeah, I think that there's something about the community within the GarageBand world and realm that is just a little bit different to other communities. And it's in a very positive way. So without being negative about other groups, what I see happen really positively in the GarageBand world is that everyone at every level is accepted. And I think it's because there is a larger proportion of people who are just starting out with GarageBand, or who are less experienced, or who are experienced musicians but perhaps just getting back into recording or getting into recording for the first time. Let's be honest, there's some folks who are like, I've had people email me, they're like, Pete, I've been playing, I'm a session musician, been playing music, been recording in studios for 40 years. I've never actually been the person that hits the red button and does the things. So they know how to record, they know how to play, they know how to punch in, they know how to actually do everything, but they've never played with compressors, they've never played with EQ, they've never multi-tracked. Some people just don't really get the whole concept of multi-tracking and layering audio. So I think the reason that the GarageBand community is so good is that everyone's been there, everyone has been at that entry point in recent times. And I think with anything where you become a, again, quote unquote, expert at, the tendency is to forget very quickly what you didn't know when you started out. I have a saying that I say a lot, which is that everyone starts at zero, which means that as soon as you start a new endeavor, you are at zero. If I started doing needlepoint tomorrow, I would start at zero. And I would super hope that if I went to the Needlepoint Facebook group and said, hey, I'm just starting out, how do I get set up and go? That I wouldn't get a bunch of people going, noob, don't you even know the 1/8 inch needle with the 14-pound thread is what you need to start with? That sort of stuff is super unhelpful. But what I see in the GarageBand community is when someone's starting out, everyone can't wait to help them, can't wait to help build them up and get them on board. And yes, there's a little bit of a cultish thing around, yeah, we all love GarageBand and we all sort of rally around it. But at the same time, I don't see that. I don't see that sort of camaraderie in other groups. I see a little bit more of the negative side, which is people making negative comments. Again, instead of building people up, they're tearing people down, almost as if it's an exclusive club. And by using a particular piece of software or a particular thing for 10 years, that you've somehow earned this higher level of respect, and you therefore have the right to talk down to other people. Don't love it. Don't see it in the GarageBand community. So kudos, well done for you for being an awesome community. Alrighty. Alex says, I have Cubase 10.5 Pro on my PC, but I always open GarageBand. Yeah, I'm the same. I have Reaper. Reaper is a super high-end capable DAW here on my PC. It just doesn't get opened. If it was a real thing, it would be gathering dust. There'd be tumbleweeds flying through it because I just opened GarageBand. I like this, the red button. Yeah, I get red button fever too, Andy. It does. It stopped my fingers working. It's like an off switch for the brain. For anyone who saw, I do a weekly show. I do a what I call the happy hour, where I do just an hour of acoustic songs, play some covers, play some music here on the channel. Yesterday, I had practiced maybe 7 or 8 times before the show. I practiced the John Lennon song Working Class Hero because Tom Rochelle suggested it was a great idea. I was playing it, not beautifully, but I was playing it respectably. Red Light Fever, yeah, I hit the go live button and I try to play it as like the 3rd song. I can't even remember the melody. Like, it's just gone. And there's no actual reasoning for this, that in rehearsal it should be fine, and then as soon as I'm live it's not, except that everyone gets it. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it. And I actually like that, because I think as soon as I lost that, it would mean that maybe I'm losing a little bit of the passion for what we're doing here. And I don't want that to be the case. I don't want to ever not feel those little bit of butterflies when you first hit record, or the few butterflies when you go live, knowing that anything could happen. Because as soon as everything is predictable and you know it's going to work and you know it's all going to be fine, I think that's where it sort of loses a bit. I had this when I used to do sports announcing. I used to be the PA announcer for the Adelaide ice hockey teams, so the Adelaide Adrenaline and the Adelaide Rush, the men's and women's teams. And when I started out, it was a rush, pardon the pun, and I was full of adrenaline because it was something new, it was something cool, and it was like, what's going to happen now? 2 seasons in, it was like rinse, repeat. I knew what was going to happen. You'd go in there, you'd play the national anthem, someone would score a goal, you'd go, Adelaide Adrenaline goal scored by number 10, Greg Gotti, and then you'd just move on. And then everything kind of became same. So at that point, I said, well, it's time to pass the baton. It was a volunteer position anyway. Time to pass the baton to the next person so that they can do it. And I think it's the same with anything. If you're not finding things that are actually pushing you out of your comfort zone, it might be time to try something a little bit different. That's my view anyway. And yes, thank you, Andy, for your comments, because I do agree with that. If anyone has any questions, we do have an opportunity here for some Q&A. Good morning, we've got Barry who's jumped on in here. Barry Tompkinson, good to have you here, my friend. Tom Rochelle says the community is awesome. Even though I use Logic mainly, really just GarageBand's bigger brother, I stick with this community because the Logic groups are ... being politically correct there, Tom Rochelle. I like it. Yeah, look, and I don't want to poop on other groups. There are plenty of other great groups around the place, but yeah, there's something about the GarageBand group, and I had fear, to be honest. I had fear that we got up to like nearly 10,000 members now, and when we were 500 and we were 1,000 members in the group, it was a little bit more like a little bit more close knit because there were less people around, and I did have concerns that as soon as we grew, that we would lose that community feel. I think there's been a small bit because some people will come in with different agendas and different intentions, but because we have such a cool group of moderators, shout out to the GBU mods. We have a cool group of moderators. They look after everyone and they make sure everyone plays nicely, which is actually a really rare thing to have such a great group of dedicated, committed people because, the pay's not great. It's all volunteer. So they do a fantastic job. So shout out to the folks over there. Thank you, Truthing and Trolling. Just stop by to click the like for Pete John. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you for your support. Hello, Burak. Good to have you here on board. My friend Rick Neal dropping in to say g'day. And good point there, Jade. Yeah, yes, you've got the link this time, createrecordrelease.com, if you do want to join the Create Record Release group. So if you're not a GarageBand user, which would be a little strange that you're watching this show, but hey, more power to you. Maybe you're learning or finding out about GarageBand. The Create Record Release group is our platform agnostic group where regardless of what you're using, if you're into creating, recording and releasing music, that's where you can go. Does anyone else have an out of sync, Pete? Most people probably do. I'm like I said, I've been in touch with Restream. I've let them know my sync issues. They've basically said, oh yeah, it could be hardware, it could be a few other things. I don't have sync issues with StreamYard, and it's the same thing. It's 720p audio. It's 720p video. The only difference with Restream is I've got stereo audio for when I do music stuff. I can't quite grapple it. Yes, I need a new computer, but StreamYard has never put me out of sync. And it might be time, but I'm giving it a fair go. I wanted to make sure I gave it a fair go. I even paid for a month worth of Restream just to test it and check it. But yeah, I think I'm out of whack. What I'll do, because I did this before, and it tends to work, is if I bring this up here, I'll give you my static GarageBand for a moment, because just doing the little postage stamp, Pete, for a while, and a static screen can sometimes bring things back into sync. But while I'm doing that, let's come in and find, because that was a big long rant that went off on weird tangents, which is the point of a rant, right? In fact, we're at the tip of the week anyway, so I do need to jump into this. Out of sync would be a great name for a band, Andy Kane. I like it. Yeah, exactly. It's a bit out of sync, but yeah, exactly. It's if you just listen to me, exactly. Great tip from SM Borthwick. Just listen to the audio and watch the chat, because it's much more interesting than my mug. What people have to say in the chat is definitely a more interesting way than looking at me. Alrighty dokie, let's jump in here, because I wanted to give you a tip of the week, and I'll do my usual thing and pause just so that if I want to cut this out and reuse it as another clip, I can. Yes, I'm that sneaky. So tip of the week: managing your storage in GarageBand iOS. Now, there are a few different ways to do this, and I have a complete video link down in the description that can help you out. So if you want to get more information and you want to learn all these techniques in detail, you can jump down there. But the two main things that I use, and the two easiest things, are to either use Icloud Drive, which is the easiest way to go, or to zip up your project and put it somewhere else. They're really the two options you have here. So Icloud Drive is pretty self-explanatory, which is that if you have your locations over here, you have your On My iPad location, anything you save in here isn't backed up. Can I say that again? Anything in your On My iPad or On My iPhone location in your GarageBand for iOS folder is not backed up. If you create a song here and something happens to your iPhone or iPad, you will lose your song. And too many people contact me every week saying, something happened and I lost my song. It went corrupted, the file was deleted accidentally, it put it into cloud storage and I can't get it back. Whatever it is, If you are storing your project just in here, don't. You've got a couple of options. Either use your cloud storage. So on my iPad, go to your Icloud Drive here in GarageBand. So on your locations, it'll be in a slightly different layout on your iPhone, but the same sort of thing. Icloud Drive and then GarageBand for iOS. The reason for this is that these projects are automatically backed up to the cloud. So if we go in here to my ideas folder, you can see here that some of these, most in fact, have this little cloud icon. That's because I've never downloaded them to this particular iPad. Now, if I wanted to grab one of these, say this reggae guitar jam, so say if I tap on this one, you can see it'll start downloading, and then it will open that up. And if I've got my volume up and we hit play. So that was me just recording someone doing some cool busking reggae guitar, which I put in here as an idea because I thought it might be cool to use that sample and mash it up with some other things at some stage. So everything that you have there, and there you go, your little cloud icon means it's uploading back to the cloud. So everything that I have here is here. So whichever device I go to, I can download, I can update, and then it will re-upload and it will sync it across my iCloud Drive seamlessly. That's pretty cool, yeah. What's the problem with this? It's storage. So you only get, someone can correct me on this, but is it 50 gigabytes of storage for free? Which, as you'd know, if you're using audio and video and other files, you're going to use up really, really quickly. However, you can upgrade that. You can upgrade to 200 gigabytes using iCloud Drive, or like me, I pay $15 a month and I get 2 terabytes. So all of my stuff, I can just put in the iCloud Drive and I have all my GarageBand stuff. You can see here I've got a Studio Live Today folder where I keep all of my other Studio Live Today stuff. And that means that any device that I have, it's all going to be there for me. Right, what if you don't want to pay Apple for iCloud Drive storage, and you're running out and you don't have storage space on your device, you don't have the ability to back up anything else to iCloud Drive? Well, that's where using a zip method can work well. So here we go. We'll go back into our ideas. Let's come into this. This is from 2017. I was intrigued by this because it's 2017 idea, 9 Inch Nails style guitar-y. So I wonder what this actually was. Let's take a listen just because I'm intrigued. Okay. Interesting. I seem to have some lyrics here. What do they do? Something's in my head and I don't know it's there. Weird. Righty dokey. So we can come out here. Now, yeah, so let's say that this was a big project. It's not, because I don't want to use a big one. It'll take too long. But this is here in my GarageBand, my ideas folder. Now, the first thing we need to do is jump out of GarageBand. So we'll flick up and we'll go to Files. So Files looks just like GarageBand. Don't try and do this in GarageBand. It won't work. But we're here in our Files app instead, and we're in that same location, iCloud Drive, GarageBand for iOS, Ideas, and there it is there. Now, if we want to zip this up to use it elsewhere, all we need to do is tap the Select button in the top right, tap on that one, and in the bottom right, we've got a More button. We tap on that, we hit Compress. It's going to zip that up, and there is our zip file. This can now be copied across to Dropbox, to Google Drive, to OneDrive, to anywhere else that you can actually upload a file. You can use the Files app here, or you can use the actual Dropbox Google Drive app and just upload it. Once it's uploaded, all you need to do is delete it from here, and then you've got a backup copy in the cloud. The other thing you can do, and I don't have a USB drive handy, but if you have a USB drive and you're using a powered USB hub, you can actually plug your USB drive directly in and then copy it over to your USB drive. You can, in fact, copy without zipping up. I zip up just because it keeps it nice and clean. I have less problems with corrupted files and other things doing it that way, but you can actually copy the .band project and it will put it on your USB drive as the .band folder of files, and then you can access it that way. But yeah, I find zipping up is an easier way to go. Now, if you had a bunch of files that you just want to archive, so say we delete this. So I'm about to do this, in fact, because in my in progress folder here, you'll notice that I have all of these versions of my Songtemper project, and I kind of want to keep them, but I don't really need to keep the whole projects right here. So what I'm going to do at some stage, I won't do it right now, but is select, and you can actually select a bunch of different projects and then hit the More and then hit Compress, and it will archive all of those together. So I'll create one zip file. I'll then just copy that one zip file over to Google Drive or to Dropbox, and then I'll be able to delete all of these projects because I'll have one backup archive of the zip versions of all of these. So there you go. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but it is a good way to make sure that you will never lose your stuff, because I really hate getting those emails where people are like, I've spent 10 hours crafting this song and now I've lost everything. It's not fun, and I don't want to see people lose their hard work. So back up, back up, back up. The golden rule is if your thing is in only one location, it is not backed up. If it's in 2 locations, it's really not backed up. So make sure that you have your things, your important things, in multiple locations so that if anything goes wrong, you've got a copy that you can refer back to. Hopefully that helps out a few people. So Tom Rochelle's talking about external drives. He says, external hard drive, but I discovered at least with the one I got, you have to format on Mac or PC and it needs a powered hub. Didn't know until the other day when I tried to use mine. Yeah, so that's a good point, good follow-up point to keep in mind. USB drives do generally need, even USB flash drives tend to need a powered USB hub to provide enough power, which is weird. You'd think you could just get your Lightning to USB 3 adapter and plug it straight in. There's a heap of videos here on the channel. In fact, if you search my name and USB drive, or my name and Google Drive, my name Dropbox, there's basically a video for everything. So, and you can even go over to my GarageBand. I've got to try and remember the actual address. I think it's just studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand, which is my GarageBand FAQ. Jade would probably know better than I do. She tends to have a better handle on what I'm doing. But yeah, here it is. So over here at studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand, there's my GarageBand iOS FAQ. And I'm pretty sure I would have zip as one of the things here. It's in alphabetical order, so it would be right down the bottom here, I'm sure. I've had to zip things up. Nope, yep, there it is. So how do I zip up a GarageBand project? And look, right above it is USB drives. So there's a couple of videos there, how to use your USB drives and how to zip up. And even if you're on iOS 12 on an older device, you can still zip up using the Shortcuts app, which works well as well. So if you're on an older device, you can jump in and check out that one. There you go. See, I told you Jade was all over it. Yes, absolutely. Hello to Cassie. So Dropbox doesn't make the files lose quality. No. So there's no problem because it's just storing an exact copy of your file. You may be thinking about exporting your files as an MP3. So if you did that, so say you exported it as an M4A and then just copied that over to Dropbox, then yeah, a compressed version of your audio file will lose quality. But as it's the .band project, it's going to keep all of your high-resolution files already in there. You have no problems with quality there at all. We've got Ciaz. I have an older version of GarageBand. Unfortunately, I'm only able to have a max 16 tracks. I would say that's the biggest negative for me. Yeah, and so obviously, well, not obviously, but we do have 32 tracks now, but 16 tracks was the maximum amount that we had on previous versions. Fernando Lopez, hello to you. Thank you for tuning in and for jumping in on board. If anyone has any questions, please drop them here in the chat. We're obviously covering lots of cool stuff here because no one's got any questions. And we're back in sync. Well, that's good. So my method there works. Yeah, external hard drives are really good as well. And you can get pretty cheap ones, even solid state ones, reasonably cheap these days. But again, remember, if you back it up and then, so say you back up all your projects to an external hard drive and you're like, beautiful, I have all this space now, you delete them. I've had external hard drives. I've had 2 terabyte external hard drives that have just failed overnight for no apparent reason. So then, and that's why I say things are not backed up unless they're in 2 places. Because if it's in one place, that ain't a backup. That's the original. As soon as you back something up and delete the original, guess what? Your backup becomes your original. So be really careful when you are doing things like that. Righty dokie. Now we are behind. We're overtime here. So but that's okay. We've got a bit of time here. So let me just jump back over. So that was my tip of the week. I've only got 2 more sections to go. So we'll jump into those now. We have my plugin or app of the week. So I want to show you something that's pretty cool here. I teased it at the start of the show. But I have a podcast. You may be aware, I have a podcast. It is called Home Studio Q&A. And yes, I cheat. It is literally the audio of my Home Studio Q&A. I chop out the little bit at the front, the pre-show, and then I start it, and I have the full episodes of Home Studio Q&A. So if you don't have the time to sit and watch, a 30, 40-minute YouTube video every week, and you're out on the go, you can subscribe to the podcast. And if I'm smart, I'm generally not, but if I'm smart, is it at studiolivetoday.com/podcast? If it's not, at the end of this show, I will make it that. No, I need to improve this because that actually takes you to the playlist of Home Studio Q&A if you go to studiolivetoday.com/podcast. But if you just search Home Studio Q&A, that's what the logo will look like on any of your podcasting platforms. You will be able to, excuse me, you'll be able to find it. So if you're on iTunes or the podcast app or wherever you listen to podcasts, I use Overcast, which is a cool app on my phone. So I use the Overcast app on my phone, and it works well. So wherever you get good podcasts, I think it's even on Spotify. Doesn't Spotify do podcasts now? I should probably check and see where it actually is. I just put it out there and it does its thing. And the reason I can just put things out there and it does its thing is thanks to an app called Anchor, which is this one. So there you go. This is Anchor. Anchor.fm is the website, and Anchor is the app. So if we come down here, it's this little one here, the little purple one. And Anchor is actually, it does a few things, and it does them really well. It helps you can upload your audio, and you can organize it here. So you can upload your audio into the library, you can set up your audio into your podcast, and then you can save it. And Anchor actually does a lot of things that we used to have to pay for. So the reason I didn't do a podcast is I didn't want to deal with RSS. It's called really simple syndication, but it's really not simple. There's a lot of things you have to know behind the scenes to actually get RSS set up, which is the way that podcasts are delivered. You had to know about hosting, because podcasts can be reasonably large audio files. So you had to have hosting, and then you had to deal with all of the different platforms of how you register your podcast and how you get it uploaded and all of those things. Anchor does all that for you, and it's actually super simple. So here in Anchor, if we go down to the my profile, here is my podcast. You can see all the episodes that I have here, all of them from episode 1 right back, way back when, back in November 2019, right up to now. And you can see here, like I can see how many plays I'm getting each episode. It's not a heap, because I know most people watch the video format, but 20, 30 people watching or listening to it every week. And I kind of, I delayed it for a while. So back here on 36, for 37 through to 46, I didn't upload them for a few weeks because I got really slack and lazy. And it wasn't until my buddy Martin said, "Hey Pete, you haven't been updating your podcast for a while." I went, "Oh yeah, sorry." So you can see here, you've got your episodes, you've got activity, you've got podcast settings and distribution. So if we go to distribution, you can see where it's going to. So all the links. So yeah, there you go. It is on Spotify. It's on Google Podcasts. Who knew Google had podcasts? Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, a bunch of different places. I've got my podcast settings here, so I can got my podcast name if I want to change that. The description there, which I probably need to build out a bit because I haven't done much. The categories and everything. My podcast artwork there. And then to add a new episode, it's really quite simple. You could literally record directly into the app. So if you wanted to just record, you can hit the record button, record yourself, and then release it as a podcast. It's pretty darn cool. But if you want something better quality, what I do is I come in here to the library, I hit the import button here, and then you can just import any file that you have on your iPhone or iPad. Super simple. If you use GarageBand or Audio Share like I do, then you can just import the audio there directly. It places it there. You then hit the plus button. It throws that audio over here into your podcast episode. You hit save episode. You give it a title and a description, and your podcast is out there. It is literally that simple. I didn't think it would be that easy. I didn't do a podcast for the longest time because I thought it would be super hard, but thanks to Anchor, people like me can actually just get into this and can start creating podcasts. And as Jade has put here in the chat, it is a free app, and it's free to join up, and it's kind of free to do everything. I haven't found any limitations. I was waiting for the hard sell, to be honest. I'm sure there's some premium features in here somewhere. I haven't found them yet because I was legitimately waiting for the hard sell where it could do some more things. I think the way Anchor make their money is that there are some, I don't know where they are because I haven't really played around with them, but there's some things that you can do to like monetize your podcast. So I think they have integration with advertising and some other things. I haven't explored it that much yet, but yeah, if you just want to set up a simple podcast that you can have distributed around the world, this is a pretty good and easy way to do it. So get podcasting, people. Yeah, don't do what I did and wait years and years because you think it's too hard. Anchor.fm, the free Anchor app for iOS, and you're going to be able to get yourself set up and rocking and rolling in no time. Hello to a few folks who've dropped in from the Ukraine. Andre, thank you for being here. Sturgios says iPad Air 2 doesn't let me export songs in iOS 14 and it's crashing. I haven't had that experience, but yeah, I do have an iPad Air 2. I'll have to go and test that and see if I have any issues with sharing. Do make sure that you're using OpenIn but not just save to files. So I've talked about it before, but there is a bug, and I'm pretty sure it's still a bug in iOS 14. If we'll just jump in over here, there is a bug where if we export, so say we came here and we shared, from here. Share the song, share it as a wave. Yeah, make sure you're hitting the open in button. Sometimes you'll have a save to files. I don't have it here because I'm on my iCloud Drive, but let's just go to on my iPad because I think that's where it will pop up. Okay, on my iPad, boop. If we tried to export this one, and I went song and wave, yeah, it gives you this save to files option. This will just do weird and random things and create dodgy, buggy ghost files that don't actually work. I won't do it now, but yeah, I've showed that in previous videos. Oh, now now I have crashed my iPad. Oh, go away. I don't want to actually export. So yeah, keep that in mind. So hopefully that will help you out. So yes, always use open in when you're exporting. There you go, came back. That's all cool. Righty dokie, let's come back because the final section here, I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, a good guy, someone that you probably already know and love, and that is our man Patrick over at the GarageBand Guide. If you don't know the GarageBand Guide and you're into your GarageBand, that's really weird because Patrick is one of the OGs when it comes to GarageBand. Let's jump in and check out his. There's the man with the plan. There's Patrick. Using cookies, I disagree. No, they're fine. So yeah, there it is, theGarageBandGuide.com. And this video in particular, actually that's top 5 GarageBand tips for iPad and iPhone. He has another video that I've actually linked down in the description, which is his top 5 GarageBand tips for let's try that again. His top 5 tips for GarageBand Mac. And because I don't use GarageBand Mac, I do feel that sometimes, well, there he is again. I do feel that sometimes I underrepresent for the Mac users amongst us. So I wanted to point you to the GarageBand Guide because Patrick does some really good work over there. And it's just the best place to go if you are getting started, especially on a Mac, but even on iOS. He's got plenty of iOS videos over there as well. And especially this one here, I'll just bring it on in. So this is his one of his latest videos, which is a compilation of his 10 best, 5
hello,
best.
It's Patrick here from the GarageBand Guide.
There you go. We all wanted to hear hello, it's Patrick here, didn't we? So it's a compilation of 5 top GarageBand Mac tips. And if you are a GarageBand Mac user, jump over there and watch it. And check out all of the cool stuff over at the GarageBand Guide, or should I more accurately say, the GarageBand Guide. Did I say that right, Patrick? GarageBand. I can't do it. I can't do it without doing the accent, and if I do the accent, it's actually quite offensive, so I'm not going to do that. Alrighty. I do have trouble pronouncing your name. Sees. Okay, Sees. I'll try to remember that. A little bit like John Linau. I get his name wrong every time. Ciaz, Kiaz. Oh, Sees. Every time I sees you, I'll say Sees. There you go. Hello to Batfink Reynolds. Good to see you here. I always call Batfink Reynolds Batfink Records too. So there you go. I get a lot of things wrong. V2, hello to you. I'm not the greatest at mixing and mastering, but any resources you recommend? I mean, I recommend Studio Live Today. I have heaps of mixing and mastering videos here on Studio Live Today. Other people that are really good, if you want to get, if you want to dive in, Produce Like a Pro. So our buddy over, I'm blanking on names. I need to finish up. Hello, hope you're doing Warren Hewitt. Hope you're doing marvelously well. Warren Hewitt over at Produce Like a Pro does some really good stuff. I'm a big fan of Joe Gilder too. In terms of production, mixing, mastering, Joe Gilder for Home Studio Corner. He did some great videos recently about EQ, which I found super fascinating, about how to use EQ effectively. So there are a couple of tips outside of here. Yes, I did remember. It's not Records, it's Reynolds. But yeah, if you ever do have a record company, it should be Batfink Records for sure. Righty dokie, I think that's going to do it. I think we are done for the week and another weekend of live shows here on Studio Live Today. So just to recap, we talked about iPhone. If you just joined us late, we talked about iPhone 12, iOS 14 at the start of the show. Gave you a GarageBand users Facebook group update. I ranted about why I use GarageBand, why I choose to use GarageBand. The tip of the week was backing up. Back up your stuff, people. Remember, if it's in one place, it ain't backed up. Two places. We talked about my plugin or app of the week, which was Anchor.fm. If you want to get into podcasting, check out Anchor.fm. All of these are linked in the description, by the way. And then we gave some love to our main man, Patrick, over at the GarageBand Guide. And yes, also Lewin Barringer. Oops. We've got one final question here, which I'll get to. Tom Rochelle said Lewin Barringer and GarageBand and Beyond is great too. Yes, Lewin Barringer, Dan Baker, Dean Davis. Basically, if you go to the GarageBand users group, there's a bunch of folks that are active in there, and they all share a lot of good stuff. C's, if I use a website that will automatically master my song like Lander, is it still fully own my song? Generally, yes. Read the terms and conditions, but I think Lander, eMastered, the one that I used, which was Schnall's, all of them say that, yes, you still own it. And especially the ones that you pay for, you pay them so that you can own it. They don't own any of the rights to any of the stuff. Question, can you guys upload to DistroKid with iPad? If no, what's the point to have an iPad? iPad is to create my music. DistroKid doesn't allow mobile uploads at this point in time. They are working on a mobile app, but hopefully that will come soon. I have a PC and an iPad and an iPhone because some things are, in my opinion, still just better with a full screen and a keyboard and a mouse and a PC. Most of the things, though, 90% of what I do is on my iPad these days because it's cool. All right, back to the outro. That is going to do it here for this show. Please, if you want to find out more about what's going on here on the channel, head to studiolivetoday.com. There you'll find my gear guide. You'll find links to how you can support me on Patreon and all of the other ways that you can get in touch and interact with me here on the channel. I will be back through the week with a bunch more videos coming to you very soon. Check out Jade Star. She's doing her How to App series later today. Make sure you subscribe to Jade and check out the latest for what's going on in her world with her new EP as well. And until next time, please take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. Keep creating, keep rocking.